things that I do, and it's kind of just helped us work together for sure.
What's it like to think now you're kind of like you and John Jackson, you guys are like the longest tenured guys in that room now. Kind of what's it been like seeing that transformation over a short time?
Yeah, it's definitely weird. Like, I think this spring has like really made me like realize that like I'm like sometimes I take a step back and I'm like I'm the oldest guy in this room. Like, I mean, it's just crazy that like out of everyone that I've been here with, it's like I'm like one of the last ones left, which is like, it's crazy to think because obviously coming in, like I just had some injury things go on, but like I'm just happy to be here and happy to be a leader in this room and try to sell this room to the top, and I feel like we could do that this year.
How do you try to be a leader in the wide receiver league?
Definitely, I think a lot of it is just like taking care of the younger guys. Obviously, when they come in, like you could see like you just want to help them. Like that's because that's how I felt like when I was here with Pittman and stuff. Like he would help me, and that was like the biggest thing for me is like when you get how I felt getting confidence from Pittman when he would tell me good things, and like I think that's just the kind of thing that I'd like to pass on, and I think that's a good thing for the room for sure.
What are the differences in how Lincoln Riley and Dennis Simmons use you guys receivers than the previous staff?
I would say it's a lot more diverse. I think I'd put it that way. Like we do a lot more things, like especially in the run game with a lot of blocking. Like you got to even block even more than last year, and which I love because obviously I'm a bigger receiver, and that's just like one thing that I take pride in. And it's also a lot of different routes and a lot of different route concepts. You got to be a little more creative. It allows you to be a little more creative. I feel like not so set in stone. And I think that's what helped me mostly because sometimes you can't do the same thing over and over again. And then with this offense, you could get a little creative in your routes, and they allow you to do that within like a certain boundary.
What was your reaction? What was going through your mind when you saw the news spread that Lincoln was going to come in, this offense was coming in?
I thought it was crazy. It was a little surreal. It felt like a lot of stuff during that period felt kind of like a movie. Like that's just kind of what it felt like. That's the best way I can describe it. I was excited definitely for like a new opportunity, and like obviously a little anxious about everything because obviously when you have a new staff coming in, you don't know. Like, but I just was more excited, and I was just like just trying to see what the future held right there for sure.
What was your first conversation like with Lincoln Riley? Do you recall?
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. I think it was like during that period that we had a little time off, and it was really cool and it was really refreshing because honestly, like, I think that's one of the first times like I've been like kind of nervous going into an office because like you just don't know what you're gonna hear like when you're first like meeting someone new that's gonna be your coach for probably a long time, and like it was definitely some weight off my shoulders. They liked a lot of stuff that I did last season, and then they came to the practice at the end of the season, and I felt like I had some of my best practices of the week. So I think I put a good display on for them, and they liked what they saw, and just it felt good to just like have someone be like, hey, we trust you and we're excited for you type thing. For sure.
Did you feel like that Cal game was an opportunity to show them what you could do?
I think for sure, but I think that's like something that I felt like I could have done all season. So that's kind of what I took it as, like just let me show everyone what we could have been doing all season, and like that's just was like my focal point thing is just kind of like hounding that in. Just for me, that's how I've always been. I always like to prove people wrong, and like I think that was my biggest thing that game more than just doing it for someone. I always try and play like that. It was just like I really wanted to hound it in that game, that I wanted to be like prove people wrong and like show people like what we were missing a little bit. For sure.
Thoughts on Dennis Simmons?
Great coach. He's really hard on us. Like that's what I love about him. Like it's a lot of like literally exact definition of tough love. Like he just is really hard on us. He like we could do something right and there's something smaller that we could have done better. Like, and I think that's like what I love about him is because like I'm a perfectionist and he tries to make us the best version of ourselves, and you can tell he really cares about us. Always checks on us like outside of football, and like last that we had a receiver dinner over there, so it was cool just to like, and he brings his family and his son in, so it's like it feels like he really brings his family into us too, so it feels like we're part of his family too.
You had two extremely talented quarterbacks here on the team last year. One is now at Ole Miss, and you have Miller Moss. But just curious what your thoughts are on what Caleb Williams adds to this program.
A lot. I mean, he comes out here like first day, like, you know, you could just tell he wants to be a leader and he wants to take over this team. And I think he's done a lot of good things in terms of like bonding with a lot of teammates like very fast, and I think that's what a leader does, and like that's who he is, and comes out here, shows a lot of emotion, which I'm a big fan of. It gets the guys going, so like I think that's one big thing. I really like his emotion, the way he plays with like just like more of like a hunger to be great type thing for sure.
Let's do one more.
And in what ways are you better now than you were 4 months ago?
I definitely feel a lot faster. I think that's one thing I've been trying to be better with. I'm a lot better with my feet, a lot better at being in control of my body. I think that's like one thing that I've really hounded in on. And I just got to continue to keep being physical while being able to be good with my feet. I think that's one thing that I've been working on in spring is there's times where I'm like trying to be really, really good with my feet, and sometimes I'm not as physical. So I'm trying to I'm like one step away from blending those two together to being like really where I want to be for sure.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yes, of course. Thank you.